Hi all, welcome to the channel SQL in Minutes. I hope everyone is doing well, and this is my very first session uh, on this channel, and it is Introduction to SQL. As I have created one PPT. The PPT will help us to understand what is SQL and maybe what are the different use cases of SQL, right? And so this PPT is mostly uh, theoretical way of or approach to understand SQL. Down the line, we will also understand in practical way or practical approach, right? So yeah, let's get started, and I hope you have a great learning, right? So yeah, what is SQL? SQL stands for Structured Query Language. Okay, language, as it mentioned, it's a language, right? It's communicating with databases. Database is nothing but you can, as of now, you can like you can think like it's an uh, you know uh, a place where data is stored. Okay, where data is stored, usually how we will get the data, we will get data by some commands. Okay, what are the commands? Maybe if you want to fetch the data, we will use querying. If you want to insert new data, we will use inserting option. If you want to change the data, we want to get the latest data, we'll be using update commands. Okay, and there is an option of removing the data as well, as you don't require any old data, or uh, a junk data, you can delete the data. Okay, so how this is done, as I told you that SQL is a language which help us to communicate database. So this all thing is managed by database management system, in short we say DBMS. So what are the examples of DBMS? MySQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, and SQL Server. Okay, and please take a note that these all example are part of relational database. There are non-relational database as well. So down the line we will get to know more on that. Okay, so coming to the SQL flow, right? As we discussed that it act as a communicator. Okay, so it's an simple diagram to understand how this SQL works and at what part the SQL role will start and ends, right? So suppose you are a user, you are giving some instruction using SQL to database management system. Database management system will get the data for you and fetch or whatever option you have created, right? Maybe deleting the data, whatever the operation you have choose or queried, that will be reverted back to the user. Okay, so what is SQL doing here? SQL is aiming to get info from database, okay, using DBMS system based on our commands. Okay, so yeah, let's move to the next slide. So now the question comes, why we want to learn this SQL, right? I know there are a lot of uh, sessions and lot of things, new edge technologies, right? So if you think of all the data related roles, SQL is a fundamental for all of them. Okay, so this is something which will be always on high demand. Okay, and it's an universal language. So if you see in different language, right, there are all time upgradations happen, right, coming from C, C++, then Java, and then Python, right? All these are the language based, or let's say Java, at least Java, CPP, and Python are OOPS concept, right? I mean, there are different languages, but in SQL it's a, you can say it's a solo hero for us who is helping us to do the data operations. Okay, so why we want this SQL? It is great for data analysis and automation part as well, right? So as there are different data roles, there are skills for valuable skills for data analyst, engineers, and developers. Okay, so moving to next command, these are the basic SQL commands. As we saw on the second slide, that we are using the data for inserting, updating, deleting, and maybe creating data as well. Okay, so we will go through this command in details, right, in next session or upcoming days. Okay, so just to give you a hangover, this is an just an quiz. Okay, this is just an, you can say, a simple query which will help us to understand how this SQL works, right? So this is a quiz where you can answer this question. Okay, select name from employees. Okay, where salary is greater than 50,000. Okay, what it does, it is having a table. So table is nothing but one of the object which will hold your data. Okay, so we will go through that as well in next session. So employee is a table which will hold the data into row and column format. Okay, so one of the column is name. Okay, so what it is doing, selecting the name from employees table. Okay, then we are giving condition that, oh, I don't want whole data, I just want employees name whose salary is greater than 50,000. Okay, so the intention is what does this query will do, right? Okay, So if you know this answer, please do comment in the video, and let's go ahead, and if not, yeah, we will move to the quiz answer. Okay, so the correct answer is C, retrieves name of employees with salary greater than 50K. Okay, so this SQL query will select the name field from employee table, okay, where the salary is greater than 50,000 as we discussed. Now, again, there are different SQL types, okay. Statements, data definition language, usually we say DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, and DQL, okay. So why there are different SQL type statements? Based on the nature of data you want to fetch, okay. Basically, if you just want to uh, modify the structure of the tables, right, you don't want to mess with the data, then you are using these commands, right? As the description says, statements that define the data and data structures, okay. Only schema objects. Schema objects are nothing but the tables, or let's say, different objects we have in a database management system. So coming to the data manipulation language, insert, update, delete, these are the manipulation language, okay. So what does it do? It will actually work on the data level, not on the structure level, okay. That's the main difference between DDL and DML, okay. It will actually modify or change your data, okay, but this above commands in DDL, it will not impact your data. It is just an making changes in the structure, okay. Now data control language is nothing but it will help us to control the access and other related activities on the data level, right. So transact control language are also kind of controlling the transaction in a session, okay. These are the statements which we will be going through. And finally is data query language, DQL. It has select command which we have shown in the quiz, right. So it will just help us to view the data or fetch the data, right. So down the line in next sessions we will go through this, and we will try to have some hands-on as well, okay.